Hi everyone! In today's video, I wanted to catch up about pregnancy. If you didn't know, I'm pregnant, and currently in 2 weeks, I'll be in the 3rd trimester. In the Instagram poll that I did, everybody wanted me to make more videos rather than do a blog, and so here we are. And I know that I also looked up a lot of YouTube videos when I was thinking about getting pregnant, and then also when I found out that I was pregnant. So let's get started. I already knew that I wanted to have several kids, and my husband and I had talked about this even before we got married. Last year, we were thinking about it a bit more seriously and when would be the best time. And in November, that's when we started praying for God's best timing, whether that is while we're still in school or after we graduate and start working. After we started praying about it and trying, I had one cycle where I had my period as normal, and then we went off to winter break to enjoy Christmas with my husband's family in Texas. And we actually drove there all in one go, and that was crazy. I still don't know how we did that, but we celebrated Christmas, and then on the 29th, I think, of December, we were gonna have lunch. We were gonna have sushi for lunch, and I love sushi, but I also knew that I hadn't had my period. It was a little bit late, but I wasn't too worried because my period isn't always regular, and there were a lot of times before we even started trying to get pregnant where I thought we might be pregnant. And so I just did a pregnancy test just to be sure, and I had James go with me, and it said that we were pregnant. And so we were both in shock and kind of trying to keep it a secret until we could get a second test to make sure that we actually were pregnant and that it wasn't just a fluke on the first one. So that's how we found out. I remember that we secretly wanted to get prenatal vitamins when we were going grocery shopping with our family, and I just remember feeling excited, but then I also didn't want to get too excited since I know that there's a pretty high chance of miscarriages happening in the general population. And then also my mom had 3 miscarriages between me and my brother, so I grew up hearing about it. And then also recently a close friend had a miscarriage, and so it was just I guess like a cautious excitement. And then we told our family, my husband's family, right away the next day, but we were trying to come up with a fun way to tell them. And there's a lot of videos on YouTube about the big pregnancy reveal. I also made a video about revealing it to both sides of our families, but unfortunately that video is private just for our family. But to tell you how we did it, for James's family, we had this game where each person in the family chose a drawing, like a topic to draw. And we did one whole round of that. And then on the second round, for me, I said, draw Baby Yoda. And so everyone drew Baby Yoda. And then for James, he said, draw Jinhee at work. And he drew me with a little bit above a bump. And they were like, you kind of drew her a little bit, big, unless it's like foreshadowing or something. And then I pulled out a drawing of the pregnancy test, a positive one. And the funny thing is that the sisters got it right away, and then the dad got it, and then the mom was the latest to get it. And same thing for my family. My mom was the last one to get it. For on my side of the family, we did a drawing telephone game with words that referred to the family members, like grandfather clock, grandma got run over by a reindeer, Uncle Sam, Papa John, and Tiger Mom. And that was the first round. They didn't notice anything. And then the second one was a word scramble where we did James is athletic, but the letters of athletic would be scrambled. And then for Jinhee it was pregnant. And again, my brother got it like within seconds, and then my dad got it because my brother was like, oh, and then he left the room. And then my mom, she was the last one to get it. So like I mentioned, we had driven to Texas, and so we were going to drive back to Virginia. Thankfully, we didn't do it all in one trip. And thankfully also, the nausea did not kick in yet on that drive. But as soon as we visited them in person for the pregnancy reveal, as soon as we were coming back down that night to our home, I started feeling sick. And definitely for the whole first trimester, starting from about 4 or 5 weeks, I was feeling really nauseous, and that was the first time in my life where I didn't have an appetite. I think I threw up around 4 times, and I just tell you so that you don't worry when it happens to you, but I think I threw up at 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 13 weeks, and 18 weeks. So actually, like, the 2 of them are in the second trimester, but just in general, in the first trimester, I actually lost some weight, and being in the car made me sick. Definitely, if I was in the passenger seat, I felt sick. And if I smelled foods, that also kind of made me nauseous. I was nauseous around meal times. So the way I overcame it was just by sleeping. And I was tired anyway, so I was probably sleeping at like 8 p.m. or even when James was cooking and eating dinner, I was probably in the room, in the bed. One time I threw up before going to school. I was about to go to school and then I threw up, and so James had to clean up while I was going to school. And another time after I came back from a long day at work, I threw up then. So I really appreciate my husband. I never knew that the person that I was choosing to marry would be the one who is cleaning up my vomit, to say, but that's how it happened, and I'm just so thankful for him. He did all the cooking for us during that period, and I was really, really thankful. And I didn't really have any cravings. Fruit was still tasty to me, but almost everything else was not that appetizing. Some other random symptoms from first trimester would be acne, although it's hard to tell if it was from N95 masks or if it was from pregnancy. Also, I actually had an easier time with bowel movement, which I know isn't the case for everyone, so I'm thankful for that. My biggest worry for the second trimester was probably trying to gain enough weight. Since I had lost some weight from the first trimester, I was already kind of behind on how much weight a pregnant woman is supposed to gain. And then I didn't feel like I looked pregnant either. My bump was really small, and the scrubs I was wearing, they were a size too big. So even though they weren't maternity scrubs, they just covered the bump so well. And none of my patients can tell. The other day I told a patient and he was shocked. And when people see me, they would say, "Oh, you don't look that pregnant," and they don't mean it in a bad way, but it just kind of added to the worries about, am I gaining enough weight? Is the baby doing okay? But my doctor reassured me that as long as I was eating enough protein, that I was drinking enough water, getting enough exercise, and taking my prenatal vitamin, that the baby should be fine, and that she wasn't too worried about the number on the scale. I'm happy to say that at the 20-week ultrasound, the baby was in the 40th percentile for size, which means that she's growing well. Now I kind of feel like I definitely look more pregnant. I used to stand in front of the mirror and say, "James, do you think I look pregnant?" I think I did that almost every day. But now I can definitely say I look and feel like my belly is big. My scrubs still kind of hide it, but I'm pretty sure you can tell if you look. In terms of body image, I struggled with body image in high school and throughout college. And I always wanted to be skinnier, and especially I don't like wearing clothes that kind of are fluffy around the waist, even though that's like a great style for some people, but I always wanted to kind of accentuate my waist. But you know, when you're pregnant, a lot of the clothes are very free-flowing, and it's been really nice for me to not have to worry about how I look and just be able to enjoy the maternity fashion as well. It's been hard to find maternity clothes. The first time we went shopping at 17 weeks, there were no maternity clothes in the mall that we went to, and I actually bought maternity clothes for the first time just last week. I feel really pretty, and I am really thankful for that. I also remember around the time when my bump passed like my top, and I felt so happy, and I still am pretty small, I think, compared to what other women may look like, but I just am not really worried about that too much these days, just trying to get my protein in. I sound like a gym person. Another question I got on my Instagram was, how has sleep been? Definitely you go to the bathroom more and your feet get swollen, so you might need to elevate them when you're going to sleep. And James offers to give me foot massages even before being pregnant. He's a really good masseuse, but I really appreciate that. And the third thing is, as you're laying on your side, sometimes during the day I would have like a hip or kind of like a leg shooting kind of pain, but I found that stretches helped. And one of the ones that I found online was the NHS Royal Berkshire Greater Trochanteric Pain. But I'm sure there are a lot of great resources online, and for any pain that you're concerned about, you can ask your doctor. I was a little hesitant to get the COVID vaccine because it's just so new, but I did end up getting it, and I'm thankful to say that I didn't have any side effects other than a sore arm. I may have had some side effects, but when you're pregnant, you're always tired and sometimes feeling a little sick, so who knows. Either way, I didn't have a fever, so I didn't have to take a Tylenol, and my arm is feeling a lot better the second full day after. Finally, some Instagram questions that weren't answered in this video. When are you due? She is coming, or expected to come, September 5th. What are you going to name her? Sophie Chien Lee is what we're planning. The Korean name Chien is a combination of wisdom and grace, Chihe and Eunhae, and Sophie also means wisdom. How are you feeling? I'm feeling incredibly thankful to God and to my parents and to James. That's all I can say. I just feel really at peace. Other things are smaller in comparison. Alright, that's it for this video. I know that the past 6 months have passed by really quickly, and it'll be just a blink of an eye before baby is here, God willing. And so if you have any questions or things that you want me to talk about, show in the next video, please leave them in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!